Well, we have made it to the very end of ZohoDay 2026. It is always like drinking from a fire hose of amazing information. So thank you to Zoho for having us and having this whole motley crew in one place at one time. But we want to get to what the takeaways are. So I want to go around this horn. Each of you, give me what your top takeaway is. But we're also going to go fast. Esteban.
The biggest takeaway is the fact that Zoho continues to deliver and continues to build on the promise they made about 10 years ago to the customers.
Love it. Holger?
Yeah, similar like what Esteban said. It's like the widest suite of things beyond the traditional ERP part with productivity suite elements, and it's the vertical integration running on their own cloud, building their own database, as we just learned here today. So widest and deepest vertical and horizontal integration.
Chirag, go.
Key takeaway, amazing event. I spent time with the ManageEngine team, and Rajesh, the president, the CEO of ManageEngine, was here. And it's good to see ManageEngine working with Zoho together. So good to see the progress.
Awesome. Love it. Larry.
ERP's back, kids.
What? It went away?
It went away. It's back. And it's just fascinating to watch. I mean, we all worry about Anthropic blowing stuff up. I think Zoho is going to be the one blowing up margins all over SaaS.
Yeah.
Love it. Martin.
Just incredible work continuing to unify the platform, which is going to, again, data unification, App OS, bringing all the applications together on a single layer, having analytics on top of that, unlocking strategic value with AI. So really all about unification, simplicity to unlock strategic value.
Terrific. Mike.
We're going to come back to that same theme. I mean, I think Manu said it just right up front, which is this is about unification. And we talked a little bit yesterday about integration tax really being an AI tax as well. And the fact is that there's vertical and horizontal expansion that we're really seeing, right? Going not just from the applications down to the data to AI, but they're going to the hardware, they're going to the data center, right? All the way up and down the stack. And actually that is we're going to see more and more of that strategy, as well as alignment around this is going to fit. It's going to crush margins. It's going to bring these pieces together and simplify the solution for their market, which I think is part of their promise.
Okay, Ray, it was kind of the ERP show here, and it was so we could just call it the Ray show. Do we want to call it Ray Days 2026?
No, but ERP's back, like Larry's saying. I think the main part is you can, make things run smoother, you can move money, you can manage risk. That's what companies are looking for, but at 1/10 the cost, at 1/100 the cost. Right. We're looking at a different scale here because we're actually operating in an era where all our technology platforms are too expensive. And what they're doing right now is resetting the cost structure around the world. And that's the most important thing that we saw here is even in ERP.
Chirag, anything that jumped out as a surprise to you that you weren't maybe expecting to hear? Okay, other than ERP. So Chirag, anything that surprised you?
SaaS is not dead.
We didn't hear that at all this week, did we?
No.
That was kind of nice.
Well, not a surprise, but surprise. No, not a surprise. But the surprise was the platform is real. App OS, which is, Raju called it delayering. So how do you take individual pieces of infrastructure and you layer them together so they can scale them independently for the workload that you choose? Now that workload could be AI, that workload could be CRM, that workload could be cybersecurity. The surprise was they unveiled a new piece of hardware.
I said one surprise, Chirag.
I know.
You could steal his surprise. Esteban, what was your big surprise moment?
My big surprise is that Zoho, who spends so much time building up 49 different applications,
55.
doesn't care about the applications anymore.
Yeah.
They just care about the solutions.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. I like that.
And
Holger.
airport ads do work.
And airport ads do work. Holger, what was your big surprise?
I would say, breaking down the surprise list here, it's their transactional named value pair database. The other surprise is how well they're addressing their own technical debt that everybody has. They turned 30 here, so it's quite an age for any software vendor, and they're addressing that with different features in a way. So it's good to see.
Love it. Okay, we're going to kind of shift a little bit to customers. Larry, any specific customer moment that you got to see here, or any customer jump out that really sticks in your mind?
There were a lot of the panels. I think the EcoLab stuck out in my head largely because it was a division that was acquired, and they had Zoho, and they managed to keep it for 12 years, and now it's scaling within. So it's basically software that in most acquisitions would have been tossed.
It's kind of the crazy story for that.
And compared to, we can mention the enemy, right, who was the predisposed system, which is Henkel is all over EcoLab SAP. So keeping their own against SAP over 12 years, it's remarkable.
Martin, what customer stood out to you?
I really liked EcoLab. I really liked Acme Brick. Because again, great story. Because that's where you're really seeing reinvention and transformation inside your typical B2B story, where Zoho lives, right? That was such a great story of like that typical Zoho customer that is resource constrained, that doesn't have a lot of like, I would say tech savvy or even tech appetite, but they are able to, provide simplicity, provide productivity gains, that exponential productivity that we like to talk about, and bring that in and sell that internally easily. That was really great.
Yeah, her story was fantastic. Fantastic.
The trippiest thing is that's a Berkshire Hathaway company.
Yeah, well, there you go.
That's wild.
Like, can Zoho worm their way into the whole portfolio?
Thankfully, he asked if you sold to individual consumers, so now we know. Now you know where to go get bricks, everyone. Okay, Mike, what customer stood out to you?
You got to go with New Cross Healthcare. I mean, I think it was a wonderful story. I mean, on one side, it reflected a little bit of their bread and butter, right? You have a mid-sized healthcare really thinking like their application that crosses now not just their workspaces. They created a new app on Creator. They actually brought a couple other pieces together. What I thought was also interesting was actually unification of the data layer. Really rethinking that the data prep, using a lot of those pieces to really start rationalizing and simplifying and getting to that promise that Manu was talking about in terms of unification, that promise of simplification and not just 93% reduction in terms of their own costs from the previous app, but you talk about just manpower, you talk about simplification in terms of just handoffs. This was a win across the board and something that just is, you're going to see more and more of these things as the next version of Zoho continues to roll out to an install base.
Paid for the next piece of transformation with the savings from the first. Like, that's a story. Like, we saved $1 million and then only had to spend $500,000 on the next. Like, every single time he came up with a new example, just absolutely slayed it. Absolutely slayed.
How do you build from there? I mean, you're bringing down the data layer, you bring the context together upon which is just building the next set of applications. And so we're seeing just that promise coming to play out.
Okay, Ray, we're going to put you on the spot a little bit. Okay. I think a lot of folks, and I think to what Esteban said of, you have this company that's building all these tools. They've been building all the little individual bits and pieces. And now all of a sudden, we just walked into a room when everyone else is saying things like, this is dead, that is dead. I'm sure ERP is dead, is on a slide somewhere for someone for a 2026 conference. And here we are, Zoho introduces ERP. Starts in India, is going to move through the rest of the world as we move through 2026. What else are you seeing, not only in ERP, but why does this make such a difference? Like, why should people actually be a little worried about this?
Yeah, I think the most important piece is we're looking at unified suites, right? Suites always win. And it's not about suites. It's not about apps. As Esteban was saying, it's not about the 48, 49 apps Zoho built. It's about the business processes and workflows that drive outcomes. If there's anything you got out of the presentations over the last few days, it's about outcomes. And customers are buying outcomes. They're buying outcomes for much cheaper. And that's the metric that they're looking at. And what I think is so important is, as we move to a concept that Mike's championing, which is really decision velocity, I need end-to-end processes. I need to automate those end-to-end processes. And if I don't have ERP, I don't have the core. Right? ERP is back, and in the sense that you have to reinvent it, you have to drive down the cost of it, you have to make it flexible, and more importantly, you have to be able to automate it. And if you can't do that, your ERP system is dead.
You have to make it ready for the AI.
Yeah. I didn't want to use the word AI.
I thought we were not going to use AI.
Wait, you're buying drinks tonight.
I thought we were not supposed to say AI.
I love it. I love it. Well, this one, I'm actually going to pose this next one kind of like a, to the both of you. We're talking about our apps guy, our product guys, our platform guys. I'm sitting with two of the best thinkers in it. So as you're talking about what Mani brought up on stage, and I think it really goes back to the core of, for the past couple of years, any of us who have talked with Mani kind of all know that he's always been very focused on where all of these disparate pieces come together. And so with the introduction of App OS, this is really kind of, I dare say, a big moment for him, as the CEO of this applications division of Zoho Corporation. So I think we're all pretty proud of him personally, but what are the big takeaways? What are kind of some of the things that you're looking at when you look at that as a platform, whether you're talking about next generation applications, whether you're talking about product observability? I know you mentioned ManageEngines before. What's the takeaway from App OS? What do you want people to really focus in on about why that's important?
Platform is as good as what people can do with it in terms of building applications that can deliver outcomes. So you don't want to build platform in abstraction because, as Esteban would say, never give engineers any money because to do any fancy projects because they're gonna come up with something and which is true because you come up with interesting projects that don't go anywhere. So the proof is in the pudding, right? I would want to see if applications look any different. Are they really leveraging the platform underneath? Is it easy for Zoho to globalize? As Ray is saying, is it actually making it cheaper and better and scalable when they are going across geo? They are significantly growing 4x, 5x in MENA. They are growing like almost 4x, 5x in LATAM.
Yeah.
How is that going to work out? So I'm really on the lookout for that. ManageEngine has already started retooling their existing products, existing portfolio to leverage App OS. So that will happen one day. And security is a team sport.
Yeah.
So if the platform allows other sources to get integrated, it's going to make them a lot stronger.
Make
So
everyone
that's what I would
stronger.
look for.
Holger, what would you want people to focus in on when it comes to App OS?
I think platform renovation, innovation, repositioning is super important. And that's what they're doing. I was talking about the technical debt before. It's going to be interesting to see because they're starting on this journey, right? If you get the abstraction layers right, because you have to get them right to run all the geographies for the different use cases. So that's going to be an interesting thing. And it's interesting to see that some other parts in Zoho are still taking a wait and see approach to build the first applications and learn from that, which I think is an amazing part of their culture to be transparent of that, rather than say, no, it's all here, it's right. It's super to go. How many applications have you done? None, but okay, we'll see that, right? So I think that's the important part. The important thing is that they have to make sure that it's consistent, scaling, elastic for the needs of their customers.
Isn't it interesting, though, that it really is a reflection of their culture? Because one of the things that I think people don't quite understand about Zoho is when they say anyone can go build a tool. They really mean it. Like, you walk out onto their floors in their office outside of Chennai, if someone has an idea, they can go to senior leaders in their organization and say, I've got this crazy idea for a tool I think someone might need someday. And they get authority and autonomy to go build it. And now they're literally building the OS for every one of their customers to actually think and deliver in the same way. It is very Zoho. It's not very rest of everyone else out there, which I think is going to be really, really interesting. Okay, I do want to pivot to kind of getting back to that customer. You know, I'm always going to try to bring it back to a CX story, right? Sorry, guys. But we heard a lot from the customers, panels on stage, lots of conversation around analytics, lots of conversation about new metrics and how people are looking at their outcomes. But we're also looking at new structures of where selling happens, where analytics and where decisioning can happen. What stands out in your mind as what people need to start thinking differently if they're a Zoho customer, if they're looking at Zoho, when it comes to decisions? What stands out for you?
So, I mean, we heard it many times over the last day, which was the idea of just this business context. One of the stories was a Canadian, I'm not sure if we use the name, Canadian credit union. Really what they had to do was start unifying across their banking apps, their CRM systems, and multiple touchpoint systems. And what they really were doing was not only creating centralized visibility, but now providing services to their customers about when you may have a bill coming up that will overload your current banking, right? And so they're being more and more proactive. But how do you start making these type of decisions on behalf of your customers? How do you give your banking leaders the information they need about the loan portfolios that they have? And so this is where unified data, think about how do you contextualize the data for the different audiences. And this is where I think you see App OS and their investments in business context really starting to play upwards. You're going to see more and more of that over the next years.
We also heard a lot about proactivity and beginning to switch that. We heard a lot about it specific to revenue and specific to that selling process. Yeah. Is in that CX breakout. Share a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, look, there's a lot going on, but when you think about the App OS, the unification and all that, and then bringing in some of these new capabilities that they're bringing, not just in the ERP, but around retail kind of vertical solutions, they all come together, but they're all still very modular. So you can kind of grab these things and need them. So they've got the ability to create dealer management systems, whole retail operations. So now you've got the ability for, what I said, like B2B people before without a lot of cost, a tenth of the cost, being able to create self-service, automated commerce that then gets optimized on both ends by, let's call it user and customer, with Zia and other tools and agentic automations to say, hey, let's optimize this relationship in a way that humans just couldn't handle at scale. And building out this whole new idea of transformation where before it was like, okay, here's your sales tool. And marketing's going to feed that sales tool. And then maybe we have desk so you can get some customer 360 around what their problems are. Now, that's all going to be agentic. That's all going to be self-service. It's going to be exposed to the customer. And if I need something, I'm going to be able to build that in the tools that App OS is going to enable and then make that available to anybody in a way that they can just pull it down and use it. So again, it's both broadening, but it's also democratizing for people. And they're just transforming, but it all starts with that unification of the platform.
It's a shift, right? Because we were in the CX breakout, and I think you and I both started nodding at the same time, because the difference was, yes, you could have all of these automation tools. Yes, I can have all the AI. Yes, I can have all the workflows, but that's just making your existing thought process around campaigns move faster.
Yeah.
But what they're actually doing is making it call. So here's the insight, here's the analytics, here's the persona. I'm calling the tool as opposed to pushing the tool out through a campaign workflow.
Knows when to do that.
Absolutely.
What's different today is they're already operating. I mean, you already see, Swiggy, huge operator in India, right? They were able to bring down just the data pipeline to be able to deliver on some of these proactive apps from 50 to 15 people and being able to free them up. And this is where you get to that simplification.
Yeah.
The promise of unification, the ability to now simplify, how do I get these things done and bring it all together in one place?
We just got to get to that level where, like India, we're on a UPI type transaction level, so we can actually reduce our cost of transactions by 90%.
Exactly. Listen, Larry and Esteban, it is very easy to kind of spit out the first headline, right? Which for Larry is every Eminem lyric he can come up with, right? I want you two to come up with the hidden headline that no one else would have seen, right? So what's the hidden headline? If I'm a CEO of a company looking at all of this stuff, distill that headline for me.
Zoho introduces a way to get off the enterprise software hamster wheel.
Ooh.
Okay, spicy. I like that one. Larry, hidden headline?
Vendor who thinks SaaS margins are too fat.
That's not a lie. That is very true. I mean,
If you want the CEO's attention.
they listen. This is an organization that sits around and actually talks about how they don't want to make more money. They're happy.
10x the value.
Exactly.
Yes,
They're
Okay,
built
we're
for
gonna
margin
do-
compression.
We're going to do a lightning round to get out of here.
Thanks for moderating. Great job.
Yep.
You throw in some of your takeaways. What are your takeaways?
Listen, my takeaways are all of your takeaways, to be honest with you. You stole all of them already, so I'm just kind of sitting here along for the ride. My takeaways, I know. My takeaways is, listen, the CX portfolio at Zoho, if we're all being very, very honest about it, and I think Martin and I would agree about this, it has been very prescriptive and it has been very functionally focused for a very long time. Like, we have a sales tool, we have a service tool, we have a marketing tool, and everyone has done that. Every vendor has their cloud of function. But what was very interesting that they talked about here is they are really talking about this from the capacity of that new data layer that Mike is talking about, that new insights layer, and they're making it proactive and they're turning everything on its head. So that rather than that data pushing everything up to those clouds are waiting for that data to go tell it what to do. And I think it's a very different posture. I think it's going to jar the system of organizations that still want to just do it the old churn and burn way. But if you are really looking to engage with a customer in a very different way, regardless of what function you've installed Zoho in, you're going to be able to actually go do that. Okay. Let's lightning round this. Let's get out of here, right? We got things to do. We got planes to take and cookies to go eat and all those kind of things. Okay. And happy birthdays to none other than Mr. Larry Dignan. But we got all of that stuff. I know, exactly. So we're at the very start of 2026, still fairly early in the year. As you start to look at this sentence, I want you guys to finish this sentence for me. As we move through 2026, keep an eye on Zoho to, Ray.
Disrupt the entire software market.
Mike.
Provide that business context level in a pragmatic way.
Martin.
I was going to say the same thing. but it's like help their customers unlock strategic value, and also continue to insulate themselves by building all their own stuff, so that when all those subsidies for AI go away and costs go up if we're using public models, they're going to have awesome vertical solutions with small language models that are going to be cost effective and disrupt the world even more.
Larry?
Move upstream with integrators.
Holger?
Thanks for Martin, who said AI already, so I'm not going to be the bad boy. No, we're going to learn significantly more about the AI tools. It's so kind of like pre-announced a year ago already. The Zia Studio, Agent Studio, Data Lake, and so on, they're all coming out this year. And it was a little bit too early for that, but we can talk about this and you will see and learn more about it.
Esteban?
They're going to say in November 13th at 8 a.m., they're going to put a press release, and it's going to say, Zoho says, now that we fixed the enterprise software market, what's next?
Number 13.
Very specific. It's very specific.
I see the future.
8 a.m. Eastern time.
Buy your lottery tickets now.
I like that. I like it. I know. Wait, yeah, which year? Chirag?
Get App OS to the finish line as quickly as you can.
Okay. I'm going to say watch for Zoho to prove everyone wrong. And by that, I mean that they have always put people before profit. And there are a lot of people out there in today's day and age that want to scream, no, if you focus on profit, then you get to do more for people. And that is simply not the Zoho way. And it has given them a culture of innovation and an atmosphere where they can disrupt and completely change the software market. So watch for them at the very end of the year to be like, told you so. But they will never do that because they're way too humble, so they won't tell so. Right. So that means we're all going to come out and say, told
So
you
then
so.
in November 13th, they're going to say, what's next?
Yeah, they're going to say,
There you go.
What company with 1 million customers, 150 million users, puts some of the most amazing stats on their slide and says it's NDA? You know,
Right.
well, I wish we could say some of these right now. Amazing stuff.
Was all under NDA.
Such a
Actually,
humble
I think
company.
you just said it, but hey,
Yeah.
don't think about that.
Listen, thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you again to Zoho for inviting all of us to have another great Zoho Day.
And congratulations on 30 years.
30 years.
30
yeah.
years. Congratulations. Sridhar, keep eating those boiled peanuts. Favorite snack. Thank goodness. I had to ask him. But thanks so much for having us, and we'll see you next time.